right, welcome back. We're on episode 10. It's our 10th episode of the Rising Tide podcast with Kyle and Riley. Today we've got on a very special guest, Michael Lloyd,
Thanks
voice of an angel, born and bred, Sydney Mines, Cape Breton, local guitar guy, and legend in the bar scene.
We're working on the legend
and
part,
the
I think.
service scene. Also, lead guitarist of Farewell Town. Is that?
I guess you could say front man. Me and Jordan LeBlanc split the guitar duties, so I'm kind of half the lead guitar player, but half not, which is kind of nice.
That's all right.
But
That's all right. A little duo.
Yeah.
We know a little bit about that. So, it works. It works well. Yeah, so, Michael, thank you so much for coming on. We're in Durty Nelly's, an iconic bar in Halifax, as everybody knows, and we're super thankful, super lucky that they're letting us film here. It's a place that's near and dear to my heart, for sure. Had a couple of nights here. I know Riley has as well, and so has Michael. So we're stoked to be here, and thanks for tuning in, guys. So, Michael, just kick it off. To tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us the elevator pitch.
You did a pretty good job getting me in there.
All right.
But just takes the mic off.
Pretty much, that's all I need to do now. Cool. But born and raised in Sydney Mines in Cape Breton. Started playing guitar when I was 10 years old. Started doing it as a job professionally, quote unquote, when I was 14, kind of playing in the local Cape Breton scene. And then eventually moved to the big city of Halifax, where we used to do our big summer trips. Getting your back to school shopping done here in this area. But I was happy to kind of move up here, and I kind of landed a gig with a couple different guys in one band in the cover scene, and then I kind of lined up some stuff with some original country acts, because I've primarily been a side guy, kind of been like the lead guitar player, backup vocal guy, and did that for I'm still doing it, but I've been doing that for kind of 12 years, and then kind of halfway through that, I had to start kind of singing on my own and fronting my own shows, and so I've kind of been living a double life in one sense. And then went to school here, went to St. Mary's, did a degree in marketing, and then just kind of stayed here and been working at it ever since. And since then, we've in 2020 formed with Farewell Town, which is kind of my new country project that we're working on and putting stuff out with.
Right. Yeah. Well, I saw you guys got one of your songs was on the top 10.
So there's a couple different charts. We had our first single, "Let's Be Crazy," come out in April of 2021, and that went top 100 across Canada, like on the Canadian radio tracks reporting.
That's great.
And then we had that same song also be in the top 30 of the East Coast countdown.
Sweet.
Or the East Coast top 30. I get them all mixed up. There's a couple charts. And then that one went up as far as into the top 10, and it was there for a few weeks. So that was the first single, and then we had another single come out with a girl from Ontario, Elise Saunders. That was a kind of a duet ballad thing. And then just recently we released our last single, which was "We've All Been There." That's kind of our fun, party, upbeat tune, and now we're working on more stuff.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Is music your full-time job? Like
this is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
So how long have you been full-time at it? Like, since you said you had a marketing degree.
So I still played music the entire time. Have been marketing and promoting myself since I was 14. So the last 12 years now, this has been my full-time job. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Obviously you're a legend here in Halifax. I think
whether you think it or not.
Yeah, I think we've got to cover a few big events, and every event you're like, oh, there you guys are again. These guys are sticking their camera in my face again.
True.
It's seeing you just kind of like, I've only got to know you in the last year or so, just from seeing you at events. Just seeing how big you've starting to grow across the city is exciting, right? Like you recognize your hat everywhere you go. You walk into a bar and instantly know who's up on the pipes. But I don't know how to segue that.
Well, I think I've also I've worked in the bar scene, so I've known about you a little longer. I first really got to know you when we were doing the live streams during COVID.
Yes, right here.
Yeah, right here at Nelly's, and I thought that was a really cool experience. And I know that since then you have done some live streaming on your own. Like, how has that been? Kind of learning that avenue for getting your music out there, and what have you learned from that process? It
was definitely something I wasn't ready to take on,
right.
But I took onto it really fast. Pretty much like the first week that everything's shut down, like that. I think it was that Wednesday or that Tuesday when everything shut down, and that Saturday night, I did a live stream, and it was my first one. Still working out the kinks. I think you can always move forward. That's to be said with any business, any idea.
For sure.
You can always move forward. So, I just okay, I need a camera. I need to figure out how to get the sound that we use with the band, or I think it was me and Jordan that played the first live stream together. How do we make that sound happen into the computer and broadcast it to Facebook and to YouTube and to Instagram? Like, how do I do these things? So that first week, it was like 12 hours every day staring at a computer screen, like
YouTube University.
Oh yeah, and it was tough. But I did every week. I did it once a week during the entire pandemic while things were shut down, and it was like kind of my social outing. I got to go out, I got to connect with with the fans and meet some new people through Facebook. Someone shared it to their Aunt Betty, and
well, I mean, at the time, there was nothing to do, so everyone was kind of looking for an outsource of something to just entertain them, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure finding that crisp sound to push out, so it's not just background bar music, right? It's hard to. Would have been a tough challenge to overcome, right?
And we were really happy once we finally got it, but it took some time to really dial in, and each week I would finish watching playing the show and not answer people for 4 hours, because I would go in my bedroom, put headphones on, and rewatch it. And okay, did it glitch there? Is there a strange or strong internet connection in certain places? So it was interesting. So every time we did a live stream, I was like, everyone disconnect their phones from Wi-Fi. We need to have the strongest internet signal.
Call Elon, get the Starlink going. We need it now.
Yeah.
That's funny. I mean, and we're in the space of videography, and when you guys reached out for me to help with the live stream, I'd never done a live stream before either. So I was
MacBook Air.
How do I do this? I brought my 2012 MacBook Air. And it worked. And
was it New Year's Day? Was that New Year's Day?
I think so.
It was.
Yeah. And so huge respect for something that's completely out of your wheelhouse. You put the work in and you made it happen for yourself. And I mean, obviously, COVID has forced us all to pivot a lot. And I just bravo, because even someone who has a decent understanding of how everything works, it was still a challenge for me to get this up and running. And there's a lot of kinks and a lot of stress, but yeah, it's been awesome. And like you said, being able to connect with those people, watching the messages go down the live stream was just there's people all over Canada watching, people typing their stories about, I remember I saw Michael at this bar in 2012, and it was awesome. It was something that I think some people really needed, and something that people had to look forward to when they couldn't go out. So it was really cool. And
have you played in many other cities other than Halifax? Is it?
Played quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Halifax is kind of home base for me now, and in the winter months and kind of some of the fall months, I pretty much wow, I can't even speak right now. I primarily play in the bar scene,
right?
But during the summer we'll do festivals and stuff. So we have quite a few festivals lined up for the band this summer. And festivals are back, which is exciting. But we also toured with the band last year in the Maritimes, because that was all that we were allowed to do.
Right.
So we play in Fredericton quite a bit. We played in just outside of Moncton. But I've traveled. I've played across Canada.
Have you ever played on the boardwalk in St. John?
I haven't played the boardwalk in St. John. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a good.
Yeah, we were just there. We were there for work a few months ago.
Okay.
And we were like, this is unreal. Like Halifax needs something like this, right?
Yeah.
Like just like a common area for bands to play and people sit on the patio.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally the only street. It's like 100 meters. That's the only. Sorry, St. John. It's the only good part about St. John, but it would be absolutely.
Have you been to the Barcade?
The Barcade?
I mean,
In
it's
St. John?
yeah. There's a
No, what did
We went to Woodchucks.
Yeah.
oh,
Woodchucks.
there's an
bar.
awesome
axe throwing bar that turns into
We
a
were like
regular
asking the
bar.
servers like, so like, where's the place to go? Like it's a Friday night. They're like, oh, the axe throwing bar is like the place to go for sure. And we're like, what? Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
They take
Is
the
that new?
axes away though. They take the axes away at 9 o'clock. So.
Oh, okay.
There's no
Yeah.
axes flying at like at like 11.
I
but
suppose.
yeah, it would be bad. But yeah.
The reason I kind of segued that way is just because I'm assuming doing the live streaming, you're reaching a whole new audience that's never really got to see you before. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously a blessing to the live streaming avenue that you had to take. Is that something you're going to continue doing, or you think that's now that festivals and everything are kind of coming back, you'll kind of die off from that?
I think to some extent we'll still. I mean, maybe not as frequently do the live streams
Right.
because it does take a ton of work to, as you know, like just to set up the live stream is.
Well, it's a whole other added level of stress too, right?
Yeah.
It's just like you're not just sitting playing the music. You're now worried like, are these all recording? Like the whole, like you're wondering, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So I think we won't do it as often. I think I'll still try and like reach out to some of the people that don't get the chance to come out as much, or I know now on Facebook like you can do like a ticketed event online. So if
Really?
we wanted to add a little bit more of a bonus kind of
Sure.
to tuning in, so we might do something like that. But I'm kind of hoping that we're going to start reaching our audience at the live shows,
Right.
and I think with our songs being out across the country on different radio stations, people are kind of getting a hold of us that way
Right.
in one regard. But it's going to be the festivals, like when we play a show and then we're in the tent and you're coming over and we're getting to actually meet the people
Yeah.
and taking photos, and that's kind of what it's all about. And I'm a people person, so
For sure.
I like seeing
Yeah.
people in
Yeah.
the flesh versus seeing their name in a comment.
for
so.
sure, yeah. Yeah, no, it's a
sure.
whole other added element, right?
Yeah.
You kind of have to be, right? It's
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, you're not. I don't know if you would consider yourself to be in like the service industry, but I think that you kind of are. Like you're delivering a product to people. It happens to usually be in a bar, so it's
Yeah.
like that kind of situation. You gotta love it, otherwise it'll wear you down. big
Yeah,
time, right?
absolutely.
So,
I'm sure there's two sides to that because, like, often I'm sure where you're in the bar, you're getting requests like just drunk people yelling at you, telling to play certain songs. Like, you don't get that over the live stream, right? So like, there's that silver lining to like to.
I'm pretty deaf though, so you
Yeah,
really
there you go.
you really got to know exactly what you're screaming. You got to scream it pretty loud because I'm not going to hear
Is
it.
that something you get often? Are the people usually screaming requests? Or?
I've kind of built a bit of a show that I think when people come out to see me now, that they're not that they're expecting expecting like a set list, because I never keep the same set list. But there are songs, like there's some songs that I've kind of taken my own spin on and put my
sure.
own life to,
For sure.
that people they're almost disappointed. The one that comes up the most often is Purple Rain.
yeah,
Yeah.
we knew that was gonna happen.
And it's like, I didn't write it. Prince wrote it.
Who?
You did?
And people forget that.
Yeah, right.
But I finished a show one time, and it was a bit of a chiller afternoon or something, and I'm very much someone that likes to read the crowd. If
Sure.
I don't want to go up there and belt out Purple Rain if everyone's like, it's 3 PM and people are just finishing some soup.
They're like eating an eggs Benny.
Yeah.
And nobody's
like-
screaming along with you.
And
Yeah.
I've had instances where people come up and they're like, you didn't do the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Like it's a secret. Like,
I know. Like, I'm sorry. I've got 3 other shows today, though. Come on out to those,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah, maybe don't come to the matinee if you want to hear the
Yeah.
the bangers, right?
but now that one is one that just kind of has to happen.
Yeah.
So
is there a story behind that at all? Like, how did that start? Do you just like, yeah,
there's we can do the Coles Note version of it.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Because we could write a whole novel on that song if we wanted
Okay,
to.
okay.
That'll be episode 11.
There we go.
Just one
We're just
episode.
gonna cut this and then kickstart it and post it as number 11.
That song was one that, I mean, just to kind of give you a bit of a background, my father's like a country, more of a old 50s, like Merle Haggard,
more tangy,
yeah,
kinda,
Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson. He listens to that stuff. My mom's more of an 80s gal where was listening to Bon Jovi, Def Leppard. But I mean, I kind of fell in the middle of it all, and I like all of it. But Purple Rain was one of these songs that I'd always been a Prince fan because of getting introduced to 80s music.
Right.
And one of the interesting things for me was coming to find that song and introducing it into my set. I thought, like, when I started to play it, I was like, oh, this isn't going to be the big go-over song.
Right.
I thought it was just going to be...
It's no wagon wheel, right?
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was going to be...
Wonderwall.
Play Wonderwall.
Yeah, play Wonderwall.
I thought it was going to be a pretty chill, there's a cool solo at the end.
Yeah.
Obviously, since then, we've kind of made it a bit bigger.
Right.
But I was coming home from a gig one night and was kind of down and out about my gigging situation and wasn't too happy. And I was like, maybe I'll try and find some other means of doing music.
Right.
And it was pouring rain out. Kind of like that classic movie scene. Like, if there's a sad thing happening in a movie, it's raining.
It's raining.
For sure.
And it's dark.
And it's dark.
So I'm
We've all seen The Notebook.
Yeah. Do you have some quotes for it?
I do. I'm just leaving it be. I'm not baiting myself out here.
Fair enough.
I've seen that movie too many times.
Yeah, I was coming home from a gig and just really down and out about music. And the song that song cuts in on the radio, and it was just at the solo section, and I was just like, I just had like full body chills, and I'm like, there's a reason why that song just came on.
I just got them right now.
And I went home that night, and I was just like, no, I'm gonna keep doing music. Like, that solo, like, kind of hit me a different way, and I find when I play that song, kind of lose myself and just kind of let that music be part of the moment, and try and let everything that's kind of going on in your life be separate. Especially during that song for me is kind of my let go moment, and kind of integrated it into the show, and it blew up.
How do you know when to whip it out?
I said,
Whip the
pardon?
song. How do you know when to whip the song out?
Cut.
Yeah, how do you know when to whip the song out is what I guess we should say. But
Late, I mean, now it's kind of the end of the night song. There's been other times where people have been pretty adamant, and again, when you're drunk and you're persistent and scream really loud to play that song, that's the combo that I kind of have to take it out early and make that song happen right away. But
Just reading the crowd.
usually that's kind of the end of the night, and it's kind of like the farewell, see you next time, and
for sure.
and sometimes it goes over.
On the counter side of that, what's like your least favorite song to play?
Oh jeez, I don't really know.
No?
I don't.
I guess if you just don't enjoy playing, you don't play it. I'm assuming.
Pretty much, yeah. And that was kind of one of the things that when I started my show, especially building it, especially in the city, was there are so many musicians and so many good musicians that you really have to differentiate yourself and make it work for you. And at the end of the day, like, you're not going to be able to please everyone.
Right.
Like, one of my favorite songs is the Brothers Osborne song, "I'm Not For Everyone." And like, I hold that so true to me. Like, not for everyone, but I want to try and, play the songs that people are going to like, but also songs that are going to
Resonate
hit different for me.
For sure.
So I try to not play songs I don't like.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I don't really have the answer for that one.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is an answer in itself.
Yeah.
That it's like,
sure.
why would you play it if it's not if you're up there just kind of cringing the whole time you're belting it, right?
Well, like, I feel like, and I'm the least musically inclined person maybe on the planet, but I feel like music is really, like, you get out of it what you put into it, and I think if you're playing songs that you don't like or you don't resonate with you, like, the crowd can feel that.
Yeah.
And I think that really illustrates on the flip side when you're talking about Purple Rain and you had this experience where it was sort of this, like, maybe epiphany moment or just a song that really resonates you, and you lose yourself, and you kind of are just in the music, in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that I never thought about this that way before, but like when I hear that song, granted, I'm usually a little buzzed, whatever, but like I can feel that. Like thinking back, like I've been lost in that moment, listening to you play that song. Yeah. And I think it really just shows that like it comes through in the music, and that's why people love it so much. Yeah. I think is because they get to feel a little bit of that as well along with you, and it's just you feel connected a little bit. So that's really interesting. I never really thought about that.
One of the things that I always say, like you said, like, you know, I'm in the service industry. I also call it I'll quote my drummer on this, Scott Musgrave from home in Balls Creek. He says we're in the relief business, and I didn't quite understand it right away, but usually when people are coming out to see live music or they're coming to a bar, they're coming out to be relieved from something else.
For sure.
So, you know, you had a bad day,
thought of it that way,
and we're relieving you by giving you some good tunes and giving you some good emotions.
Yeah.
You know, getting yourself a good drink.
Right.
Maybe get a good couple bites. But, you know, of those people that had a bad day, that could have been a lawyer, that could have been a doctor, that could have been a patient of the doctor at the same place. And we're kind of, you know, responsible to kind of just, you know, music has been kind of a universal language for so long. For sure. And just to see all different people of all different types of situations come out and kind of gather and be in unity. Yeah. You know, there's nothing more like, I love playing Stand By Me by Benny King. That song is like, everyone knows the words, or they can hum the words. So I love playing that at midnight, and everyone's holding each other, hugging each other, smiling, maybe crying, but it's one of those things that like you see everyone kind of come together. So it's music's super powerful and really cool in that way as well.
Really awesome.
Yeah, and that's something we've been missing the last 2 years, right? It's just that the camaraderie that you get in the bar scene, right? Like it is about going out and partying and having drinks, but like those moments where you're connecting with strangers, screaming lyrics of music, like that's something we've been missing the last 2 years.
Even when you know you do songs like "Don't Stop Believin'" and
Banger.
the crowd just screams it, and you're like, okay, there's a reason why this has been like a timeless song, and you know, this is why our parents have loved it, and why even like your grandparents would love it, and why like future generations will love it. It's just there's something about those songs that like really connect people, and
they just like transcend generations for some whatever reason. Everyone's got a connection to it.
And that's the thing with music, right? It's timeless, right? It's like there's songs that really resonate for. You may not understand any of the references that are going on in the song, but 100%. They're still resonating in some way, right?
Yeah,
you find
exactly.
a way to connect on a personal level with it, right? It's crazy. Was there someone who like inspired you to kind of go into the music route?
Yeah, I've had a couple different avenues. My mom's late brother played in the music scene a little bit in Newfoundland, so he's pretty much the only musical person in like on both sides of my family. Really? My father always had a guitar at the house, played a few chords, but like never really dove deep into it. And then as a teacher, Dave McCoe, he was a guitar instructor. He was also a school teacher. Right. But I went to his lessons for a few years just before he passed. And it was, you know, he really influenced me to kind of take lead and play music. And then obviously you have kind of your idols that I took to, and a lot of those are like 80s rock guitar players. I love, even though, you know, I still love like a lot of the, you know, playing country music. I loved a lot of the country players, but some of the big players for me were like Richie Sambor from Bon Jovi, and Neil Schon from Journey, Steve Lukather from Toto, like 3 bands that I love, but like their guitar players specifically I love even more. Just very different styling, and trying to combine that with the way that I play, and that's been kind of, I guess, my influences for music. Yeah.
Right. What was like with the first instrument you learned to play? Like if you didn't grow up in like a musically inclined house, was it just kind of you went on your own avenue to find that, or?
My mother, she's gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but my mother signed me up for guitar lessons when I was like 6 or 7.
Okay.
And I was like, no, guitar's stupid. I want to play piano. Whatever. 7-year-old kids do their thing, right?
Yeah.
And so she's like, all right, we'll sign you up for piano. And I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And like 3 years later, 2 years later, I was like, I think I want to play guitar. Because it was my own decision then. It wasn't like my mother telling me, like, you have to eat your crust. I was like, I'm eating the crust.
Eat the crust.
So I
I'm
think...
a grown boy.
Yeah.
Mean that crust.
Yeah. Whole grain bread, too.
Playing this guitar. Yeah, there you go.
So I did think it was just kind of my own, you know, obviously some kind of influence somehow, some way. But then it was just, I think I want to play guitar, and I did. And, you know, I would lock myself in my room with my lights off and learn how to play guitar in the dark.
Okay.
Was a big thing.
Okay.
Second nature, right? It's,
You know, I would leave the lights on, figure out where like a D was and where a G was and where, all these, like, you know, the basic chords. And then I would shut the lights off and be like, figure it out.
Right.
And I would do that. I would skip over breakfast when I was going to school. Like, I would play like 3 minutes before I had to run to school. And at lunch, come home, practice, not eat. Go back.
Damn.
Leave, come home from school, like try and finish my homework while I was at school, so that when I got home, I would play right until supper time, go upstairs, eat, and run back downstairs, play until I had to go to bed. And that was kind of like my practice habits too, when I first started. So
Yeah, no, when you're passionate about something, it's crazy how quickly the appetite just takes back seat, right? Like there's times where we'll be sitting at the desk and it's like, we should probably eat something today. Like you're dialed into something.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you really get to hone those skills too, right?
Yeah.
Like, and if you'd have the discipline at a young age to be able to like, to know that it's like, I'm going to shut the lights off and just learn. And like, obviously it's paid off because we wouldn't be here having this conversation probably if not. But yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. And
Can you play any instruments, Kyle?
It's funny. I actually did the opposite of you. So I got signed up for piano lessons. Didn't like it. Ended up like doing that for like a year and a half. And eventually convinced my parents to let me quit. And then, well, I guess it's sort of the same, but I never asked to play piano.
Mom, I broke both my hands.
Yeah.
Look.
And then
I broke my finger.
same as you, I think I was like 10 years old. I wanted to learn how to play guitar, and then I went to lessons and hated lessons. So, I don't play any instruments. I took a guitar class in university. That was pretty fun. But
Bird chorus?
yeah,
Do you play
definitely,
anything?
No, my dad always said I couldn't carry a tune in a 5-gallon bucket. So, and like I can't play any instruments at all. I think I was a little scared too. Just like thinking you're like piano lessons. My sister was in piano lessons, and when I was young, I always was forced to go to her recitals. And like I feel like sitting through those recitals was just like I don't want anything to do with this. Like I just was like played hockey and just wanted to play hockey, and sitting through like watching Christy have to like dress up and be stressed and play in these recitals for like 3 or 4 hours. It's just like I don't think I ever want to do
just
that.
for your parents to watch.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't take up dancing.
Yeah.
My sister was in dancing. I was
Okay.
like, I'm not
Not
I can't
dancing.
do that.
Not dancing.
Turns out you wouldn't want a big guy like me dancing around, doing
Michael the
ballet.
ballerina.
Yeah, ballet.
Yeah, that's frightening for everyone.
Yeah, so I think we all found the correct path in our lives, is to sum it up. But yeah, I did a recital, and God, I don't really
On
remember
piano?
it. Yeah, but I can't, like, I must have been so bad. I must have been so
Just
bad. God bless my
black
parents.
sheep.
They're so
Oh,
they're
look,
so
and now I got
good.
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star coming next.
Yeah.
You didn't rip out the Beethoven the first time.
No, I was no prodigy.
Ah.
Instant genius.
No. Same as Riley. I was just wanted to play hockey, and I thought guitar would be cool, but then I hated like structured lessons. So
And also too, I'm left-handed. There was definitely a time when I was trying, like younger, one of my cousins played guitar and was like, I remember sitting down with her, just like her trying to teach me, and I'm left-handed, so I'm like holding the guitar backwards, and she's like, I can't do this. Like I don't know how to. You're not getting it. Like she was trying to teach me right-handed, and I was like, I can't control this hand the same way I control this hand. So
Did you just string it?
Fun
the
fact.
opposite way?
Well, you could. I'm left-handed too.
Okay.
And I play right-handed,
there you go.
which is really weird.
So I'm
Okay.
just making excuses for no reason.
No, I don't.
I'm no Michael Lloyd. I know that much. But
I don't know why. I don't know why I gravitated to playing, because everything I do is left-handed,
right.
and it's the worst when you're having to sign something, and when you're writing on the back of a check and it's just smudge,
Yeah.
or your test.
All of this. Yeah.
Okay.
When you
yeah.
fail a test and they're like, you got an F. It's like, yeah, but I smudged the words. It's actually an A.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You always got to sit at the end of the table too. With the left hand, there's a lot of stuff when you're left-handed too that you got to start to.
Yeah,
factor
you
in,
have
right?
to. You'd have to sit over there for the reading.
Yeah, because if I'm sitting, Michael would be bumping your
We'd
arm
be-
the whole time,
Oh,
right?
true.
Yeah.
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 Man, elbow
It's
tag.
the little things.
It's the little things.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
brutal.
but yeah, there are left-handed guitars, and I've even tried to play a left-handed guitar. I can't.
Right.
I can take a left-handed guitar and play it right-handed, like play the strings upside down.
Wow.
Not great, but like if I was in a situation where if like my guitar got smashed, and they were like, we have a left-handed guitar for you to finish the gig, I could get through.
You're okay.
We
Wow.
will-
You'd be singing a little louder though, right? He's just.
I would be singing louder. There wouldn't be as many good guitar solos,
Right. Yeah.
but I get through.
I mean, that's what we're here for, is the guitar solo. Big time.
Gotta love the solos.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk a little bit more about Farewell Town, because I think that's obviously something that you've been working on, and something that's going to be huge for you guys. So just like take us through how that started and sort of what the plan for that is.
Yeah, so January 2020 comes, and the band had been. I'd played with all of the guys that are in the band now for quite some time,
Right.
but we're kind of looking for an outfit, I guess a branding, to start doing some other work in, because we're all session musicians. So meaning that I got hired to play with with other people as their lead guitar player. So like I've played across Canada with guys like Aaron Pritchett or JoJo Mason, Chris Buck, TJ King, Andy Bass I've played with. He's from New Brunswick. All amazing guys. And so have all the other guys in the band. And we were just like, let's group together, have kind of our own little outfit, and start pushing it out. And obviously the first thing is the name. What are we gonna
Yeah.
be named? And we had a
Nightmare fuel, man. Trying to think
Yeah.
of a name.
We're still
We're
not there.
still not sure about ours, but
Rising
anyway,
Tide
yeah.
still may change. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
And that was the toughest part. I think was like, what are we gonna be?
Yeah. Who are
And we had a much more poppier sounding name
Right.
at the beginning, and then I was just like, I think Shaky was like, why don't we just like go polar opposite and go Goodbye Town? I'm like, goodbye isn't ringing with me. Goodbye is not the vibe. And I was like, what about farewell? Because like we're all from small towns. Like I'm from Sydney Mines.
Yeah.
Jordan LeBlanc, other lead guitar player, is from Glace Bay. Our drummer Scott Musgrave is from Balls Creek. So three of us from Cape
All-time
Breton.
name. All-time name.
Yeah.
Must be a terrible crew to drink with, I'm sure.
Yeah,
All
and
three
then-
Cape Bretoners.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
Shaky, our bass player's from Memramcook, New Brunswick.
Right.
Okay.
So all small little towns, and we're like, let's go Farewell Town, because like we still want to go back to those towns. We're not saying goodbye to those towns.
Right.
We're just saying farewell. And with best wishes that the band will kind of go on and do its own little thing. So we grouped together, and then in March of 2020 we went to just outside of Moncton to write and record the first EP that came out just in October. And that was, so March 2020, we were writing, recording the songs, and like had to come back because we were watching the news every night with the pandemic, and so everything kind of got halted with the band for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then finally in October of 2021, we released the EP, so it's still kind of fresh. But for us, it's like we've known those songs for almost too long now.
Yeah, right.
But it's, you know, that's kind of been our journey is going on and you know, writing songs. There have been a few other songs that we got pitched that we're hoping to record and release. So now we have some festivals coming up this year. We've got some more songs coming out.
Which festivals?
Yeah, what do we?
Let's plug away.
Where do we go see you guys?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna be over at Churro Rocks the Hub.
Sweet, yeah.
Country Rocks the Hub, not the Rock the Hub. The Country Rocks the Hub.
Okay.
So we're gonna be opening for the Rec Laws.
Oh, unreal.
And that's like a 3-day festival. We're gonna be in Sydney this year for another festival. I'm waiting on that to be confirmed. We're gonna be up in Barrie, Ontario for another festival.
Sweet.
So everything's kind of
starting to come.
The calls are just kind of starting to roll in because it's been with so much uncertainty of what the rollout plan is for Canada.
For sure.
So now we're finally have a bit of a plan, and it's looking good. And looking forward to kind of releasing, you know, those songs, and we'll have more coming out. Farewelltown.com at Farewelltown Music.
Nice.
You know,
Plug away. Love that.
find
Not
us.
his first rodeo.
Find us on those things. Spotify, Apple Music. You know, we stream on all those
sure.
services.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just now we're working on finding where our radio traction has been, and then finding if we can get in a festival in that same area, and then building it to also play more shows in that area. And
That's right.
For sure. You mentioned like the uncertainty. Have you found it difficult? I know myself, I find it difficult to get excited for things now. Like, do you still kind of feel that like hindering kind of feeling? Like, I find like planning things months out now is just like so uncertain still. It's like we were talking when we first sat down about the masks being gone on the 21st, but it still feels like
it's a very big like, will they be
yeah.
gone?
Like, have you found it hard to get excited for things like that?
yeah, it has been because historically we've booked our year like a year and a half in advance.
Right.
Like we're 12 months to 18 months booked in advance, and you know, you're being self-employed and also trying to run a band where you have 3 other guys that you're employing and you know, trying to provide for.
Right.
And to only be like, well, it might happen in 3 weeks, and you're like, a couple years ago, I would have known that this was happening next year and 6 months ahead of time from that.
Yeah.
So it's been like, it's hard to get excited about bigger things.
Yeah.
You know, I think now we're at this point, we're just happy to like play music at any given time with each other, because the last little bit it's been like solo performers or not as many like band structured things. So now that we're finally able to play, it's we played our first show just this past weekend, and it was different. It was different to be like, guys, we haven't played together in 3 months.
Right.
So we're shaking the rust off some songs, and
Right. It's just like, it must completely change the preparation factor, right? Like,
it does, yeah.
And I mean, just to give some context for our viewers and listeners, Dirty Nelly's is opening right now, so that's why you're going to hear some background chatter. But yeah, sorry, just continue.
That's all good.
Yeah. What else would I want to ask you here, Michael? So yeah, and you say about being like self-employed. What was that like, shifting from hobby musician to I'm not coming to play for free for you guys?
Yeah.
Like, what was that transition like for you?
It's kind of been like a long time
Learning curve, right?
learning. Yeah, exactly. It started out where, you know, I'd go out and make a couple, like, I wouldn't even make a couple bucks at first. It was like just getting my name out there and being like, hey, I'm here, I'm present, hire me.
Right.
And then it moved on to, you know, playing different fundraisers, different events, like anything that I could get my hands on. I was like, whatever I can get the experience. You want me to play bass for you tonight? All right, whatever. As long as I'm playing.
Get your face out there.
And then I started realizing, like, wow, this like equipment is really expensive. And then someone would be like, "Hey man, good job tonight. Here's $20," and like, you know, taking tips, or from musicians, you know, being like, "Hey, we're just gonna cut you in on the paycheck," and you're like, "Oh wow," and now you're like, you're going to the music store and you're like, with this $100, what am I going to buy? And it was like,
Strings.
it was the upgrading,
Yeah.
and strings was, I mean, for $100 now, strings don't get very far. You get a couple packs, but you know, it was like, okay, I want to upgrade to this and upgrade to this, and you know, okay, I sing through this microphone now, but I want to sing through the $200 microphone. How many gigs do I have to do?
Right.
So it's been like a constant upgrade thing. So that was like the big transition, was like, the better gear you have, it's not going to make you a better player, a better singer, but knowing that you have, you know, higher quality tools is going to help enhance your product and your
100%.
brand. And
Yeah, that's been, I mean, that's right on par with what we've been doing too, right? Like it's the reinvesting. It's like, we're not necessarily, you're making great money, or you start to make money, like good money, and it's like, I'm not just making this, I got to reinvest this.
Yeah.
So that I can make more money, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, for us, I mean, obviously it's kind of a similar, where we're in the creative industry, that it's like, it's hard to show your value. I lost my train of thought there. It's hard to show your value without actually having all the equipment. So it's like, to start out and showcase that you're just showing up with one guitar, as opposed to like your speaker, or like, you know, like a crew.
Yeah.
It's a big fluffing factor, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's,
People don't take you as seriously if you don't have all that stuff.
Right.
Even if your skill could be through the roof, but if you don't show up with 3 cameras and lights and everything else, it's like, well, what did we pay all this money for?
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, it's the same with, like I was saying earlier, all the equipment you guys have. It's
There's
when
a
you
lot.
guys roll in, people know that they're gonna get a good show, and for better or for worse, kind of, right?
Yep.
and yeah, I guess I was on that thought process. Like, how have you been at transitioning your value into pricing? Like, how do you gauge what you feel is fair value for what you're doing?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Love that.
Yeah, that's a good. I was waiting for the showstopper.
Nailed this.
I think it's been, you look at what you want to do is the first thing. Like, how do you want to perceive yourself to others? Like, how do you want others to view what your show is? And, then taking that as like the foundation and going, okay, well, I want a light show, or I don't care about a light show. It's more about me playing an acoustic guitar and connecting with the words, or, you know, telling stories as a songwriter. I think that there's, you know, kind of a weird, like, it always changes, I guess, is where I'm trying to go.
I'm glad that this question's difficult for you, because it's still something we're trying to figure out too. So it's
I
It's
think
so dependent, right?
Yeah.
People will probably come to you and say, how much do you charge for this? And it's like, well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
What does that entail?
Yeah.
Because you never know what you're going to walk into. You never know what people's expectations are. It's like, it's a crazy
transition.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily, like, there are some things that, like, because of so much time that has passed on, and I have been lucky enough to work with so many other people that I've kind of started to figure out, like, okay, well, like, if I'm coming in to play like a private event, or even just at a bar, like, my first thing is, like, I need good power. I can't be plugging things in and it just be blowing fuses and dirty power happening, because the guitar is plugged in, so it's also connected to that electricity in a way. So if it's buzzing, how are people supposed to hear if my guitar's clear? And, you know, if there's bad cables, you know, just little things like that, they all start to add up. So, like, good power is like one of the big things for us. But yeah, you stumped me on that, like, trying to, you know.
And that's fair, because I don't know if there is a right answer. There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
It's something that you kind of, when you're self-employed and when you're doing something that's a little outside of the norm, how do you value that, right? Like, it's like, what am I doing? How am I able to charge what someone else is doing if we're doing completely different things, right?
Yeah, and I think too that I play, because I play in so many different venues, probably the same, like, you get called for different things, different types of, video. you know, someone might want you to do a podcast. Someone might want you to do a game. Like, those are two very different things, right? So, you know, even me coming into play at, say, Durty Nelly's is going to be different than me playing somewhere in Cape Breton in the middle of nowheres, where they might not have, like, you know, there's speakers here, there's lights here, so coming into this show is a little easier versus having to pack my car with my speakers and my lights.
Well, there's a difference between like providing the show and setting up the show, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I'm sure like they've got the venue here for it, right? And
and the same way that we sort of, you know, company A versus company B, it's like, if we're talking about we're doing something for Coca-Cola versus doing something for a local Big 8, it's like these guys.
Big 8.
But it's the same thing. It's like the Coca-Cola, you're obviously going to charge more because that work is going to be way more valuable to them. So like, so you made the example of like, if you work a bar here versus a random bar in Cape Breton, like your value is a lot more here because the sales are higher. There's more people listening, you know, like, so you kind of have to calculate that way too, right?
And I think going into that too, like, say we're just saying, let's just take like Marguerite, for example. I love the place. Not a lot of events are like, there's not like a Durty Nelly's in Marguerite, or even in Sydney, there's not like a ton of bars to go to. There are some great bars.
The Capri,
Man, my 19th birthday, going down those stairs hurt.
I've never been. So
I've actually never been. I've heard the stories, but I've never been. It's just the local.
I've been out in Cape
Apparently, I've been. I just don't remember.
Right, of course,
yeah, the one and done.
But you know, there's with being self-employed, there's risk, and you know, are you willing to take the risk to go? Hopefully, like you said, be kind of connecting, I guess, all the points, like building the fans in different places is like, well, what's the risk you're willing to take? Like, are you willing to pack up your car with, you know, $80,000 worth of gear and drive there and set up and play and tear down and buy a hotel for the night, sleep in your car, or just drive back to the city right after? So, you know, you kind of include all of those things, and like, sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not, but that's like kind of the gamble.
Yeah, and I'm assuming too that, like, I know Kyle and I, we don't live a very stressful life, just being self-employed, but there's different stresses that come along with that, right? Like, that it's like, like we may spend a couple days not doing any filming or editing, but then there's the end of the month, and it's like, oh shit, like we need to make some money, right? Like there's that driving factor that it's like, okay, well maybe I will do this gig because I need to pay my bills, right? So it's hard to change when you're valuing yourself and moving forward, and then realizing that not everybody else is seeing that value. So you have to kind of slow it down, figure out what's going to pay the bills, and kind of go back from there,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, and I mean, luckily, you know, there's a lot of the bars, especially around the city too, have been great and can kind of like, they take care of you, and I think that kind of goes hand in hand, because when I'm coming into, you know, here, right here at Durty Nelly's, I'm taking care of the people that are here for live music, or maybe persuading the people that weren't here for live music to be into live music, and now they have a new favorite place to go. So, you know, I think like it's one of those, like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and good relationships are kind of one of the biggest things. And again, now kind of coming towards not the end of COVID, but living now with this our new normal is being back out with people and not live streaming, where I can actually shake the hand of a manager and build that relationship, and, you know, kind of bounce ideas back and forth with other people, and not be scared to go meet up with people in a public setting.
No, that's the big thing, right? It's shifting back, which is nice. Right. I mean, I know when it's been kind of getting more lenient as we go, but Kyle and I have shifted. Like, there was a time where we were doing all our meetings on Zoom, and it was like this: we weren't getting work. But then you meet in person, and you're landing jobs because people can tell that you're actually passionate about what you're doing, and you mean what you're saying. Right?
Absolutely.
It's tough over through a screen to really relay that, right? Trying to think what else we want to talk about here.
I don't know.
It's not live, so I can edit this
stuff.
How does it
sound? Is it okay with the background?
His face, he didn't seem confident in his answer.
Oh, dude, no. Like, if we're talking or something. But
No, I know. It's good with the laughs. I want to kind of go back on to Kyle's point too. When you kind of said about the company A company B, like Coca-Cola versus like Big 8, like obviously.
Great example.
Well, but you know what? But to counter your point, you said how it's going to mean more to Coca-Cola to do that commercial. Like they're willing to spend more. I agree with you, but on the devil's advocate side of it, I disagree because I feel like for us to produce something that we could produce for Coca-Cola and produce that for Big 8, that company's going to value that a lot more than what Coca-Cola is, because Coca-Cola is doing that like in 5 other different areas. Whereas that was just like a thought that I had on what your example was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just thinking about like if you produce the exact same thing, like it's going to translate into more money, more sales for Coca-Cola versus Big 8. So it's like the same work is more valuable to one versus the other. But I also get what you're saying. Like obviously, something that's high quality, well produced, like a good advertisement is going to be very valuable to the smaller companies as well, which is 100% true. I was just thinking purely like monetarily.
For sure. I just wanted you to kind of elaborate on that. It was always
if you guys want to do a Big 8 commercial with the lime pop and have like a party pizza, I'm in. Just
say less.
Where's the best place?
Lemonade.
To
that was Big 8 lemonade, man.
Greco, man.
Greco?
Like think of those Cape Breton classic birthday parties. You get the Greco party pizza, and
Every hockey trip,
and you get the lime Big 8,
when
the orange Big 8.
When I think Greco's, I picture like waking up at like 3 a.m. in a hotel room on like a hockey trip when you're like 13 years old, just eating all the leftover big pizza because you have this huge pizza in your room.
Yeah.
But we've had I won't even speak. Our house, we've been hard on the party pizzas as of late, and we had a shitty experience on the last one that we did, so now it's just spoiled. We're just off the Greco train.
That's too bad, Greco.
What's the Cape Breton's famous for pizza? What's the best pizza going to Cape Breton?
Yeah, because my parents are from City Mines and Florence.
Okay.
So I'm like right in that area.
That's what I've heard is Kenny's.
I have a thought,
to be, but
I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
I'm a pizza guy. Let's set that straight.
Okay.
He knows what the fuck he's talking about.
More importantly, though, Cape Breton pizza is completely different. I mean, I think that kind of happens. Like I know, like Pictou County's known for their pizza. You know, Halifax has its own pizza kind of going on, but Cape Breton pizza is like, to me, is like a greasy pizza.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know how it's come. I don't know if they've all just met, if all the pizza people met up in the woods and talked about it, had a fire and like worked it out. I don't know what they did, but they've got it down. Obviously, one of the big ones is Kenny's, and now it's in Halifax. So
is it the same experience in Halifax?
No, the smell is different in Halifax. Not the pizza, just the smell, and that's part of the experience.
It is, yeah.
It really is.
But you know, I remember as a kid, like in high school, there was a Kenny's Pizza in North Sydney, so you'd bomb in your car up to North Sydney and grab a slice at lunch. Napoli Pizza in Sydney is another big one, but not being from Sydney, I don't eat Napoli as much, but I love Napoli.
Okay.
But then the 2 pizza spots, there's more than 2 pizza spots in Sydney. There's 2 pizza spots in Sydney Mines, but then there's some other pizza spots around. But like, so there's Papa J's and then Princess Pizza.
So is Papa J's like Papa John's, or is it Papa J's?
No, just Papa J's. Just
Papa
J. No on. Just
J.
Just
okay.
Yeah. And then there's, but I used to eat Princess Pizza like once a week. Like every weekend. Friday comes around, we're getting pizza for supper.
I love that the pizza question was the thought-provoking one.
Well, I'm thinking of...
Were you thinking Jane's? Were you a Jane's guy?
Jane's was probably number 3.
Okay.
We always get Munchies, which is probably like
right around
one
the
of
corner.
the greasier places on the planet, but unbelievable. Very greasy, very delicious. And then
greasy in all the right ways.
Bianchini's.
Oh yeah, North Sydney.
North Sydney is also a favorite of my family.
I love all of those.
Yeah, really good. Munchies is, when you said greasy, I was like, wow, that's to a T.
Yeah,
but it's so good. It's so good.
Princess is very much like Munchies in that way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I've heard lots of
we love
Kenny's. Kenny's
pizza.
has been the big push. I've heard.
Kenny's
Yeah,
is-
they seem
I
like,
like
well,
Kenny's.
they're kind of franchising a bit now, right?
Yeah, well, they've got one in Antigonish, so I think anyone that goes to X and
Yeah.
we've played at
Pipers.
insane event. Yeah, not at Pipers, but at the Golden
Okay.
X at
Yeah.
the X Inn or
Yeah,
whatever.
nice.
We've played there a few times, and it's like every time I finish, I'm like, I know that the wheel's right there,
No, the wheel.
but then Kenny's is right there, and
Yeah.
Kenny's is just so close to home, and living in Halifax now, I'm like, I'm halfway home. I might as well just get a slice of Kenny's.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not bother crossing the causeway. Settle for a slice.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
deep dive with Michael Lloyd.
Yeah. Not deep dish, a deep dive.
You and Portnoy should do a.
I already know that we're
Fierce.
gonna be clipping that one and throwing it out there so that get the
So
Cape
funny.
Bretoners talking, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there's definitely some heated debate there. I would say the
Yeah.
people are pretty picky.
I think there was something going on like a Facebook meme account for a while that they were doing like a pizza comparison thing.
Really?
Yeah, for
Like
Cape
a
Breton.
tournament, like a.
Yeah, for Cape Breton only though.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I mean, it really, like Riley said, it's.
I'll find it. I'll send it to you guys.
Famous
Yeah.
for the
If they get an
pizzas.
event going, let us know they don't need some media coverage because that sounds like something I can get behind.
The pizza
The
battle.
pizza jamboree of Cape Breton.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm here for it.
that's great.
I don't think I had any other
So
big
good.
questions.
Yeah, Cape
here, really
Breton,
didn't.
man, Cape Breton. I didn't grow up there, but it's got such a big place in my heart. Like,
Yeah.
visiting there is awesome. It's a
I
great
grew up with
spot
your
and the
cousin.
people are awesome. Yeah, I got the inside scoop on one of your first music videos. We weren't able to find it on the internet. But,
And you can't.
He wiped it, but I think the theme might have been Kraft Dinner and Kool-Aid maybe. It was.
Oh, there's so much going
Was
on.
Oh, you're doing some homework,
The
some
theme.
deep
Well,
diving.
he grew up right next door to my cousin, so
Yeah.
I got the scoop. But I mean, it's crazy.
He's
to
not even
see
he's not even acknowledging
from
that one.
he's like, this is a dark time.
That one
in my
doesn't
life.
exist.
Is
Yeah.
this where I can tune in my selective hearing?
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Oh, your
it's,
mic stopped working, Colin. I didn't hear you.
Weird.
But yeah, it's funny to see. Riley and I have both had similar, completely different field, but very similar experience. Where like, we think back to the first piece of video content that we made, and it's almost like cringy, right? It's like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe I did this, but the fact that we were willing to put ourselves out there at 10 years old and to do something that like nobody was doing and just doing it for the love of it,
Enjoyment,
the fun of
yeah.
it, it's
Yeah.
cool, and I think it makes sense that we've all ended up here at this point. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
At Durty Nelly's at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday.
$30, I mean, there's no drinks on the table,
No.
So
we're doing
early.
all right.
Yeah,
We're doing
I know.
all
This
right.
is the longest I've been in this establishment without a pickleback, I think.
Well,
so.
it's 17 minutes to 12, so it might be time for
It's almost whiskey
cold one and
time.
It's
some
almost
food.
whiskey
I don't
time.
know. Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
No, I think that
That was an awesome.
that was an awesome chat. Like
Yeah,
I think
man.
I'm glad you came on, and it's something that's I feel like not a lot of musicians are going on podcasts, like at least locally.
Yeah.
And it's something that I wanted to kind of dive into a little bit more and
Yeah,
learn more
well,
about you.
and thanks for having me. It's different to for me too to do a podcast.
Have you done one before?
We did one.
Don't name
I
drop.
think-
Don't name drop it.
I think we did, well we did one with the band
Yeah.
in Alberta. I think.
Okay.
okay.
Again, everything was online, and this is like the first in-person interview
Right.
and podcast I've had in a very long time.
Awesome.
So.
Interview.
Awesome.
We were journalists.
Well,
I'm a journalist.
well, all of my radio interviews have been on the phone. It's
Yeah.
like I haven't got to
Yeah.
walk in, and
it's not quite
hey,
the same, right?
it's not the same.
It's nice to have some rapport as
yeah,
well.
and
like,
it's awesome for
beforehand.
people to get a face to your
Yeah.
voice, right? Like to get an understanding of who you are and how
Yeah.
you got to be, right? It's kind of what this is all about. Is just
Yeah.
showing that everybody has a similar story, but not everyone has the same story. So it's
Yeah.
fun to deep dive, learn more about Cape Breton pizza, and keep going from there.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Sweet, yeah. I mean, that sort of wraps it up for this episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Mike, we just want to give you a chance to plug. What's your week look like? Where can people find you sort of Wednesday through Sunday?
Funny you say Wednesday through Sunday. Monday and Tuesday's my
We're on the
My
weekend,
weekend.
time right now.
Every Wednesday I play at Kai Brady's.
Yep.
And that's like, I think it's 9 to 1 now. Times have changed. Check out the Instagram. Check out my Instagram. I always post the times that I'm playing. Thursday, Friday, Saturday could be a variation of who knows where. You know, I play here a lot at Dirty Nelly's. Play up at Stubborn Goat, up the hill there. Play across the bridge, over at Finbars quite a bit. We do, you know, again, we travel too, so we'll be back at Fredericton at Dolan's this year.
Dolan's, what a spot!
Yeah, great spot.
What a spot!
But then on Sundays, I'm here at Dirty Nelly's every Sunday now, and it's our Garrison night. So $6 pints of Garrison every Sunday from 10 to 1 while I'm playing, and
could be worse.
The good times come along with it.
All right, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on with us, and I think it might be time to get a couple of smoked burgers into us,
something spicy.
Maybe a cold pint.
That's right.
Continue your weekend.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. A lot of fun.